So, I would like to welcome our amazing guest, Dr. Thomas L. Page, author of The Seven Deadliest Words, The Power of Words, the power to heal. Hi, Dr. Page.
Hi, Aziz. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing just great. Just great.
So let me tell you guys, I met Dr. Page. He was my psychology teacher at Essex County College, and actually my first semester. And he was just so fun in class and insightful. And he also conducted the workshops on how we can succeed in college. So he's very well rounded. And his first book we used, When Love Is Not Enough, bringing spirituality and coping back to families and homes. We used in class. And what I love about the way he writes is that it's interactive. He has, lists. He suggests lists that you can make, your further readings, and also how to employ what he opens up to you immediately. So I just think I want to commend you on that, Dr. Page.
Thank you.
I love to read, but I do particularly love interactive reading. So tell us about, tell us about the first book. Like, what inspired you to write it?
Well, when I received my PhD, my specialization was counseling with spirituality and coping. Mm-hmm. And what I did is that I took the dissertation that I created and used it to help young African American adolescent males in the community by making sure that they connect the spirituality with coping. One of the things I've also noticed that when I was growing up, we've always went to church, and it was parents made us go. My mom made us go, and but after a while we wanted to go. Mm-hmm. But it seems like as we got older, or and as we became parents, it became a little bit more laxed, and not many children. It was now a choice if they wanted to go to church versus, well, you're going to get up, you're going to go to church. It's not like school.
Right.
So it was one of those things, and that's what's missing, and I wanted to bring that back. I wanted to bring spirituality back as a way of coping, because our young people aren't really coping the way they should.
Right.
Gun violence is now the new coping mechanism, or I'm hearing now in the news about the slashings and angry teens. Those who are killing themselves and each other.
Right.
That's not a coping mechanism. That's not a coping skill. So
for you, would you say religion and spirituality are one and the same, or do you think that there's a difference?
No, there's a difference.
Yeah.
When you're talking about religion, you're talking about a specific denomination, like for example, Christian Reformed or Baptist. But with spirituality, it's something bigger than us, something that we carry within ourselves. The belief that we have. What is it that we believe in as far as someone spiritual that can take us to another level versus ourselves?
Right. So when you say with going to church, I know pretty much every religious belief system have some form of community, form of worship. I think everyone.
Right. Yeah,
for the ones that I know too. So when you say with going to church as a way to bring use spirituality to cope with life's challenges, for those that are not necessarily Christian and don't go to church, is it the same equivalent, like whether it be the temple or the mosque, like for Muslims?
Yeah, but the main thing I would say is just listening to the word. It's what we call being fed for the week. I go personally to listen to the sermons to get the information that we need for the week, because once we get that, that'll last us for a while, and we practice it. It's a practice that we have to do once we get fed, and then by next Sunday we're probably worn out. By Friday we're ready to do our thing, and then by Sunday we're ready to get fed again and move through. But it's the practice. It's to get what we have. We're spiritually fed that Sunday, and that's what we do, and we practice it.
Right. And of course, it's a sense of, it takes discipline.
Yes,
it takes discipline, which is needed. And, going through the things that my family are going through right now, it's a challenge, you have a belief in a creator, but then when you have hard times come in and you have something that you don't really can't see or touch, that's when the faith and belief is challenging.
And it's funny that you should say that, but the difference for you is that you do believe.
Right.
So you have a coping mechanism. Now, for example, someone who didn't, there's a video I would watch called The Widow at the Funeral. And, for those who believe, have something current. And Jesus comes into the picture. And, she now has to battle whether she's going to believe or not believe.
Right.
And it's the same thing here. We believe, so we will always connect. We'll always have that connection. If we didn't have that coping skill or that coping mechanism, we would be lost, depressed, and there have been many who have thought, a lot of my life coaching clients have thought of suicide at one point because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to go or who to believe. They would go to their friends. Their friend says, well, I don't know if I would be able to deal with this, and which doesn't help situations much.
Right.
So
exactly.
that book came to me as a way of making sure people know how to cope.
Okay.
And spirituality is a way of it.
And then what inspired you to continue going? Like now you have the 7 deadliest words. First of all, when did you publish it?
I published it just this year.
Okay.
It became fully published this year. And it's funny because with this book, this was a journey for me.
Okay.
Just having my PhD and being what we call successful was not enough for me. That wasn't success for me. My success was knowing of my character is that how I'm doing as a person.
Right.
And what I'm worth. My worth is everything. And I took a journey that took me to my 7 words, and everybody has at least 7 words that holds them back from doing something that they needed to do. And these are only my words, and I'm sure once you get to read the book, you'll understand that everybody's going to have their 7 words. But these 7 words that I had kept me from doing what I want because I was scared out of fear.
Right.
Or, I kept saying, if only I could, or I would do it, but there was always something in the way.
Right.
And then I finally stopped and just realized these are just words.
Yeah.
So now I really have to start practicing moving forward and making these words more positive. Put them in the sense, but in the spiritual aspect, because I know that biblically it's but for the grace of God that we have it. And if only through God that we do things.
Okay.
So, it was one of those journeys that I took. It took a couple of years to write it. And then I had a lot of issues in my life, where a lot of heartache, and sometimes you have to take that heartache and turn it into something positive.
Right. Exactly.
So I wrote about it. I journalized it.
Yeah. And that's my way of coping. Like, okay, well, if I had no control over this happening, or I feel like I had no control over something traumatic happening, then I could take that energy, completely transform it, and put it towards something good. And for me, it justifies.
And it made a difference.
Yeah, it definitely made a difference. So, okay, so I know you had the book signing. Sorry that I missed it. You had a good turnout?
It was a great turnout. My fingers were sore from signing, but it was a great soreness. I had my mentor, Dr. Bob Lee, there from WBLS, and he was phenomenal.
Really?
He was the one who kind of kept me going, kept pushing me through to the completion of the book, and I also have to give a shout out to Steve Harvey because he was the one. I never get up early in the morning to get up to do anything, especially listen. But for some reason, God woke me up. And he was telling a story about his friend who had this patents, and he was talking, and he said how good he was, and but he never did anything with them. So he says, "When are you going to do something with it?" And it made me realize because I was holding this book from, holding myself from finishing it, because I kept making all excuses. I didn't have the money. Financially, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't have this energy to finish it because I didn't know where I was going to get the money from. And here I am. I had to snap back into reality and says, okay, God's supposed to be taking care of this for you, not me.
Exactly.
And Steve Harvey, from that moment, every day, he seemed like he had a devotion just dedicated to me. But, you could hear it.
Right.
And I kept, and every day I wrote. I kept writing. And that's how the book formed.
Wow.
And I gave a dedication to him in the book, because now I've jumped out the plane and I've soared.
Wow.
So,
awesome. I love that.
Yeah. and that was one of the things that he was saying. You just can't be scared. Just, jump out the plane, and soar.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I did.
You know what? And it's something, because when you are behind the scenes on a TV show, it's completely different from what the people see.
Right.
So I had seen a clip on Facebook, and I believe it might be the same thing that you're talking about, where he was behind the scenes of Family Feud, and he just started preaching. It was like Son Angel just touched him, and he just was like talking about just that. You have to take that leap.
Yeah, you have to. Take that leap of faith.
So I was just talking to Professor Page, and he was telling me some of his words in the book. Like he says, we all have our words. Fun fact, a child before they are the age of 3 have heard the word no 24,000 times. And when I read that, and then as a mom, I'm thinking about how many times, you tell your child, no, don't touch that. No, don't go there. No, don't. You don't realize how that negative affirmation could really have such an impact on them. Like, even though you're telling them no to protect them, I then started to make a conscious effort, a concerted effort to say, boo. Well, don't is still negative. It took me a minute to find out some positive ways of saying it. How about, go over there instead? Not necessarily, no, you can't watch TV, but go read a book. So that's what my youngest son, Uriel, he's like, Mommy, can I watch TV? I'm like, go read a book. Not necessarily no. So, Dr. Page, what are some of your words? I know you mentioned the word if.
Yeah, if, before I talk, I have some friends who I love very dearly. Mm-hmm. And some of the words that they talk to me about is like, if we always use the word, if only I could, if only I could do this, if only I could do that. I know, like, for example, in page 51, I give a list of ifs that we use constantly.
This is like being in class again.
Yeah.
Page 51.
Yeah, like it says, if only I was smart enough, if only I was big enough, or if only people could understand me. And
right.
We use these if-isms as an excuse.
Right.
And sometimes we can't worry. I had a situation where with my mom, and when you talked about the passing of your brother, when my brother passed, my mother would said, if only I could have. You can't do God's work. You can't take God's work and do it yourself.
Right.
It's beyond us.
Right.
So it's no if in it. It happens. Sometimes we have to let go of the fact that we're not in control all the time.
Right.
And there are some things we're not going to be in control of.
Right.
And some of the other words, but I would have finished, but
yeah.
Sometimes these buts, and I start out by saying we have more buts in our life. And sometimes we have to realize that we got to get these butts out of our lives.
Right. Exactly.
And sometimes I look at some of the words. Now, one of the words that people couldn't understand when I did a life coaching session with the book, was prayer. And they didn't understand why I would use prayer as a deadliest word. Okay. But it is the deadliest word because if you think about prayer and how we look at prayer, some people don't understand it. They don't know what what prayer is. And I've had many good people tell me, well, I don't know who I'm praying to or what I'm praying to. Some people don't trust it. It's like, all right, I already asked God 3 or 4 times already, and nothing's happening yet. Right. So you're trying to believe that this is what's going to happen, or you don't know if it's going to happen, and some people just don't respect prayer.
Right. Well, I mean, as a society, we expect instant gratification. Everything that we have done technologically, we have excelled technologically in order to make things happen right away. The remote control, so we don't have to get up and turn the TV. Mm-hmm. So I think that mindset then translate spiritually as well. Well, if I pray for something, I expect it to happen in my time.
Right. Exactly.
When I'm ready for it, or when the reality is when you think you're ready for it. Uh-huh. And the fact of the matter is that, only God knows. And, this show, Sunday Dinner, is all inclusive. I consider myself spiritual, not necessarily religious. I have explored many different religions, I guess you could say. I think so. And in my experience, I found that they are all a cultural attempt at communicating with the creator. So it doesn't matter what religion you belong to. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And in order for you to make sure that in the book where you talk about, the power of words and the power to heal. Yeah, through prayer you can heal, and there are things that can help if we remain humble and stop believing that we could do things ourselves. Things that are beyond our control. We think we still can handle it. We still think that we can do this. We have to remain humble. We also have to pray for wisdom. Guide me in what I need to do to get to this level.
Exactly.
So that I can believe in prayer, or when I ask for something, that it'll be given. And the same thing as far as limiting your contact so your life will be enhanced. So you have to be very careful who you talk to.
I had an interview with the comedian Coco Brown last week. She performed at NJPAC. I had an interview with her, and she was telling me how she realized that because she is light, and because she's focused on what she's doing in her career, and she's making a positive impact on her community, she thought that she was going to attract other people of light, like minds, and other people of light, and it turned out she actually attracted all the negative people. Everyone that wanted to suck, her energy and her light from her. So, you're saying as far as knowing, like, who are you around, who you let people into your space and into your life, that is, I know. Yeah. Sometimes I have to learn the hard way.
And sometimes you have to, I go by the word. And pretty much, and in Philippians 4:6, where we talk about don't be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And see, once we let it be known to Him, then we got to let it go.
Right. Asking you shall be given.
Yeah, and it's got to. And sometimes I sometimes think that I think I'm successful in the fact that God has taught me how to be humble, has taught me how to just wait for things, but just be patient. And then that was, and some of the things that I've learned, especially through life coaching and life coaching clients, is that we really have to follow through on everything we do, especially our 7 words that we live by. Now, I had some who had 7 entirely different words. But there was one word in particular that everyone had that they fell short with, which is forgive. That was by everyone. And I bet you even now, even with the listening audience, I'm sure that to forgive is one of the hardest things that we could ever do. And that's one of the deadliest words that we have, because sometimes we can't do it.
Well, how would you define what forgiveness is?
Letting go of an uncontrolled situation,
okay,
and being able to successfully live the life you want to without that interference. Okay. If you're going to truly forgive somebody, you're going to let it go. I forgive you. And I'm not saying once you forgive, you stay away from them, because, in life, I've done things where, I maybe shouldn't have been forgiven, but they forgave me, and we still became friends.
Yeah.
I have to do the same thing. So I've been doing that for a long time, and sometimes it's not easy. I have been hurt, and I talked about in the book where I've been hurt by, people in my close family. But sometimes you just have to forgive them and see them for the person who they are.
Right.
And love them unconditionally.
Unconditionally, right.
Unconditionally.
I agree.
For sure. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Especially in the way situations are today, where family is almost non-existent. There are a lot of families,
Right.
but there are not enough to help other children realize those single parents. I was a single parent,
Yeah.
but it's not saying that being single parent isn't a good thing, because I praise and give honor to all single parents, because that's a hard job, being a parent.
Yes, it is.
But in society, it's supposed to be a father, a mother,
Right.
to support.
Right. Exactly.
And it's not heading that way. I want to gear it towards that.
right.
And this is one of the reasons why, for the second book, why I really was intense with it, because I wanted to make sure that my journey was clear, my path in which I need to present this, show the reflection of me, my past, and how I've survived and how I got through it. So it's
Lead
a
them by
wonderful thing.
example.
Yes, I lead by example. Exactly.
So let me ask you something. I was in psychology with you, and of course we have the very scientific aspects of the human existence. How do you find that middle ground between the spirituality and the scientific aspect?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, when we deal with spirituality, there is a scientific thing to it.
Okay.
For example, I'll give you an example. We know that, let's say, for example, the ozone layer. And let's say we take a bite of the apple. Like you take a bite of the apple, there's a chunk of it missing.
Right.
And that's part of the ozone.
Okay.
All right? So when everything is escaping from that. And everything is coming in, and, you're not getting a grasp of it.
Okay.
Now, scientifically, we can't necessarily control that. Now, this is where spirituality comes in. We take spirituality, we embrace it, we take it, we can repair that. We can take that spirituality and put a hold on it, stop it from running so fast in our negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts just keep coming in. But scientifically, I don't think that you can compare the two together.
Okay.
You can't compare the two, but there is a science to it as far as behavior.
Right.
I'll go with that. There's a science.
There's a
to
science as far as behavior.
Yeah, as behavior. But as far as our way of thinking, I think that's all spiritual, how we feel, the emotions, the emotional part of us.
So do you ever find there being a conflict within yourself? Is there ever a conflict, would you say? I can acknowledge that, even as, an experienced professional as yourself, that we are human and we're always growing and learning. So do you ever have that moment where you feel like spirituality is conflicting from what you know as far as science is concerned?
No, because that's where faith comes in. That's
Okay.
where faith comes in. I can't believe in the earthly things. I have to believe in the spiritual.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it works every time. You just got to have that faith to believe
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. And as far as I explain it, I'm a Virgo, and Virgos are said to be, that's another thing, like astrology. Some people believe in astrology. I feel like God has created such a master plan, and that pretty much everything means something in some way. So yeah, the day that you were born has significance. So therefore, as far as being a Virgo, Virgos are known to be analytical and very logical. And I do feel like I say that I know God. You know, I don't only believe in God, I know God. And that science, to separate science and divinity, it doesn't make sense to me. Because in order for you to be able to explain the unexplainable, it would mean that it was created by something
much bigger.
Exactly. And there is an order to it. We've just not figured it out yet. And then scientists seem to think that as soon as you do figure out, that means it's not divine anymore. And I'm like, well...
And sometimes it's not for us to research and to take in. Sometimes we just have to believe.
Right.
And you could put a lot of things, like, it's just like any theory. Every day, the hypothesis change.
Exactly.
You know, something's going to change, or somebody's going to find a better solution.
A better solution, exactly.
Right. So, but with faith, it's only one. You either believe or you don't, and you have to trust it.
That's a very, very interesting way to explain that.
Yeah.
Now I know what to tell my daughter.
Yes.
So we're back here with Dr. Page, and we're talking about his new book and some of the 7 deadliest words. So let me ask you something, Dr. Page.
Okay.
As far as your own, since we just got off the song therapy, do you give therapy sessions? I know you mentioned group counseling.
Yes, I do group counseling, and my focus is now on life coaching. Right now, I'm doing a project. I'm working on a project called Reading with a Purpose. And this is a project I'm doing for young people and their families and individuals who really want to take their life to the next level, but don't know how to get started. So I want to get them off the ground and start doing that. A lot of them can't afford the book. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get like organizations, companies, fraternities, sororities, and those who support education and mental health to support, by buying books for these young people, and we give them away.
Right.
Okay. Because I won't get the profit. What goes in, it goes to the book company, and the book company gives. And then sometimes the book companies will be nice and give extra books, but we need to. And most of the books I have to pay for, it comes out of my pocket. So and I, anyone who knows about books, you have to buy the book in order to sell the book. Yeah. So I'm trying to reach out to anyone or any company that who knows anyone who can help us with this. I know my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, we go to high school, go to college. So we promote education. So we've got to make that effort to go out there and to help. And the only way we could do it now, in reality, we have to do something, go out of our pockets, go to the communities. We got to go where the source is needed.
Right.
And right now, our teenagers are needed in the community. We need to uplift them. We need to uplift their parents. We need to uplift individuals who really want that enthusiasm, that energy.
Right,
and sometimes we have to go out there and do it. And I'm ready. And I know I can't do it by myself. It's a
group effort.
Yes.
It's a group effort. I know, because for me, I would say getting started is probably the biggest challenge. And I know everybody has their own challenges.
Right.
For me, getting started. Going to the gym, getting ready to go to the gym, I'm like, I really don't want to go. But then once I'm there, then I don't want to leave. I'll be in there for like 2.5 hours. And you
get that good workout.
You get that good workout, and then you feel amazing afterwards. But for some reason, like, actually getting started is a challenge.
And that's everybody's challenge.
Yeah.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
And like I told you with my second book, it took Steve Harvey to kind of kick my butt.
Right.
Waking me up. But that was only God. Waking me up in the morning and wanting me to hear that. Get my butt up and start doing. And you don't have the money, wait until you get paid. And then that's what I did.
Right.
I waited until I got paid, put money out, And then I had a great friend, and tell you how God works in his divinity. I had a special friend donate $6,000.
Wow.
And that's how everything happened. Because, see, that's what happens. You have to wait and wait for God to answer. I already went to him. Now, that trust and that faith, once it happened, things started rolling. And it seemed like every time I got up in the morning and listened to those devotions, things started happening and things started working.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know it's kind of the same thing for me, too. As a fellow book writer,
Yes.
I had to just make sure I wrote something every single day.
Yes.
2 words, or edit something, or, just something. And I think that once you know what your flaws are and what your shortcomings are, and you can admit to that, then you can take the necessary steps to correct them.
Right. And one of the things you don't want to do is be complacent.
Right.
Yeah, and many of us are very complacent. I have some very bright students who want to make better, but they keep saying, well, I'll just keep this job because this job. But see, you're being complacent then. All right. If you're keeping the job to move to your next level, then that's good. But don't keep it if you know you could get a good education, if you could get a diploma. I'm not saying that's always going to work to immediately, but a degree helps you advance. And if you don't have a degree, do something that you know you're going to love. And then when you're at the age of 40, you still love it. That's when you call it success.
Right.
Now I've been in the education field for over 34 years, and I still have that passion.
Wow.
And I love it. Well, as a,
I know you.
As your professor, yeah.
I
I still have that passion, and I will always have that passion. And once that passion stops, then I move on.
Right.
But you have to have a basis. You have to have a starting point, and a lot of people get stuck. And I want to help those young people get started.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Well,
before we go, where can everyone buy the book?
You can buy a book on Amazon.com.
Okay.
They're on sale.
Okay.
And I will be posting on Facebook the different locations where I will be selling my book.
Okay.
Also, if they need to reach me or for any kind of lectures or coming out to speak, because I'm also an inspirational speaker, they can reach me at tlpa@aol.com.
Okay. And I'll get all this information posted on the Sunday Dinner Facebook page, everyone. Do you have a website or a blog or?
Yes, and it's funny because I'll put that on Facebook also.
Okay. All right.
And I'll give it to you for
we'll
dinner.
We'll do the technology connect.
Yes, there we go.
I'll tag you, you'll tag me, I'll share you,
there you go. And I thank you for inviting me. It's been great.
Much.
I just hope that it's effective, and I hope that that people who hear will pass this on.
Yeah. Well, I will.
Yes, definitely.
I already got you had me when I started looking to it, and I was like, can I get another one? So thank you so much again. Before we go, I want to go through the week ahead. So you know how I do. I always go with the weather one, but there is something interesting that I did find. Tracy Ellis Ross, Diana Ross's daughter, star of the hit TV show at Channel 7, Blackish. She is partnering with Special K to do this female empowerment project called Strength is the New Pretty. Yes, that's what it's called. Strength is the New Pretty. It is a collection of photographs highlighting women being themselves, sans makeup and hair and everything that we consider fabulous and beautiful, but only focusing on the spirit and the soul and your interest and your mind and all that other good stuff. So go and see that. I'm going to go and see it. I've not seen it yet. It just opened on March 17th, but at the Sky Gallery in Newark. I already posted the information on the Sunday Dinner Facebook page. And real quick, we're about to head out. The week ahead, we are looking at, well, today was, it's 39 degrees now. Tomorrow, Monday, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 52 degrees and a low of 30. Tuesday will be nice and bright and sunny with 55 degrees. Wednesday is cloudy, but it's going to be kind of warm, 68 degrees. That's cool. Thursday will be cloudy again with 61. Friday, there will be some thunderstorms at 59 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny, 57 degrees. And next Sunday is bright and sunny again with 57 degrees. And then the following week, might be running into some rain. So everyone, enjoy the nice weather for this week. Again, this is Sunday Dinner on gemsradio.net. Like us on Facebook at Gems Radio. Also, the Sunday Dinner website, facebook.com/SundayDinnerZ. Check out my Instagram, Aziza Kabibi, AzizaKibibi. And thank you for listening. Thanks again to our guest, Dr. Thomas Page. I hope you guys learned a lot. Thank you, Dr. Page. You can say thank you. You can say you're welcome.
You're welcome.
And I hope you come back. We're going to get some updates.
Oh, great.
And when you start working on the new book, and I know some of my listeners are writers as well, so it's always good to, give tips. We're well-rounded.
Yeah, so we all get together.
Exactly. So I'm going to